What's up? It's your girl Lauren of Lauren Learns Korean, and today I'm going to talk about my top 5 YouTube channels that I'm currently watching that are Korea related. The first one is from a guy named Min Che, and I started watching him maybe a month or so ago, something like that, because honestly, when I first saw his channel appear on my feed, I thought that I'd seen him in a reality show, but I don't think it's him. But it's a guy that's really similar to him that I saw on the show, so that's why I got him mistaken. But basically, what his story is that originally he was teaching Korean on his YouTube channel, and I've been meaning to go back and watch the video, but he made a video explaining why he decided to stop teaching Korean. And so now he's kind of doing like various types of videos, because recently, about a couple of weeks ago, he made a video mentioning that he wanted to do a 100-day challenge where he would make a video every day for 100 days. And I happened to catch that video, so I said, okay, I can join in on that to support him. So I've been watching his videos every day, since, he made that announcement and since he started making the video. So typically his videos will consist of cooking. He'll do like a personal video. He'll do a history video, just like different kinds. He'll do songs because he has a very lovely singing voice. And so he'll sing a song and then talk about the lyrics of the song. And then like today, for example, he had one of his subscribers actually come and they talked in person, which was neat. Definitely pulled me. That's definitely something, of course, I want to go to South Korea, but just the fact that, this girl that is also subscribed to him and been watching him, every day like I have, actually got to meet him in person and they got to talk for a little bit. So that's basically the gist of his channel. He is unknowingly funny, by the way. I think he knows who I am, based on my YouTube name. I have another YouTube channel that I watch his channel through, because that's how he knows me. So I make it a point to watch his videos when they premiere every day, and if he does a live chat, to make sure I say something to him just so that he knows who I am, because I'm trying to make connections. So that's Min Che's channel. The next channel is Average Korean Man, and this is exactly what it is. It's an average Korean man talking about life in South Korea. He does a video like every day, every other day, basically. But like today, he did a video on lookism, which basically is the popularity of cosmetic surgery in Korea, and how a lot of people are doing it. And it was interesting because he gives his perspective on all this stuff. So it's different when you're reading about it, but I think it's more interesting when you have somebody who's actually there, who actually sees it every day in his everyday life. And sometimes he'll drop a little vulgarity here and there, like he did today. It was hilarious. I was not expecting it, and I busted out laughing. But the good thing about Min and Average Korean Man channel is that they both speak really good English. So it's not, it's not like you have to read subtitles in order to understand what they're talking about. They both speak really good English, so you can just sit and listen if you're not, learning the language, or if you're not fluent yet. So this definitely helped me out a lot. So the next one is called P6 Show. And this one has an interesting background. So there is a Korean R&B artist that I like. His name is Thama, Thama. And he had an album that came out last year called Woof, WOOOOF, exclamation point. And he had a song called Baby I Know, and I love that song. In the video, there is a guy named Daniel Youngju Lee. I think his last name is Lee. And at the time, I didn't know who he was. I was just like, well, he must be some celebrity in South Korea. I didn't know who it was. And then there was another guest named Soul, and she's also a singer. So I knew who she was, but I didn't know who Daniel was. So he was in the video and everything. And so, I was just like, well, just never really thought to like look into who he was. So once again, one day on my YouTube feed, I see Daniel on my feed. And I'm like, oh, it's that guy from Thama's video. And so I click on it, and it's like a talk show. I mean, they have other videos that they release that are like full straight Korean. So like, you know, even like the subtitles are in Korean. So like, unless you know the language, you're not going to know what the other videos are about. I mean, you can kind of guess and maybe for fun try to figure out what the video is about. But outside of that, their main jam, I guess that's my impression of it, is they do a talk show where they invite celebrities. So not just Korean celebrities, but they've had like Chris Pratt on there. They've had Jack Black on there. They've had, you know, other American celebrities on there outside of, you know, Korean celebrities. But they'll have them come in, and depending on who it is, you know, and it's been fun for me because the Korean celebrities that I know, I get to find out how much English they know, like if their English is good or not. So my favorite episodes would probably be when Brian Ju was on there. And if you don't know who that is, he was in a Korean R&B group back in like the late 90s and 2000s called Fly to the Sky. Like I didn't, you know, at that time, I didn't know about any of this. Like I'm sure, you know, some of you all may know. But he is Korean American, so he speaks good English, but he also speaks Korean too. So like depending on who it is, they'll, you know, banter back and forth in Korean and English, or they'll say something in English and they'll go Korean and then switch back. So they code switch back and forth. It's very fascinating to watch. But the thing about it is, I like about that show is that it's just like, it's basically like improv. So they have questions that they ask the guest, but like there's no script. So they're just asking the question, celebrity answers it. And then like sometimes, like at some time during the middle of the show, they'll do like a daily Korean word or phrase of the day where they share, you know, what it is. And then they'll give like they'll act out an example for you in terms of a scenario which you could use the term or the phrase or whatever it is. And it's pretty funny. It's definitely not for kids. So if you have any kids, I wouldn't recommend watching the show in front of them in their presence. But it's a good show, and it's a good way to get perspective and understand the culture a little bit more. The next one is Dumbfounded / Fun with Dumb. These are podcast channels. So it's hosted by Jonathan Park, and he goes by Dumbfounded. This is his MC name, and he's a rapper. I don't know how much rapping he's doing nowadays because he's like a year younger than me, so he's like my age. But like back in like the late 90s, 2000s, I think he was like really popular, especially like in California, because I think he's from California, like LA. So that's where his show is, where he does his podcast, and he has like two friends on there, Steffi and Rick Lee and Steffi Bate. And they'll just, you know, chat for about an hour, 15 minutes about different topics and everything. And then Fun with Dumb is similar, but I think like the context and the subject matter is a little bit different. So how I came across that, once again, it was like on my feed, but like I'll do other videos based on this topic, but for about a year or so, I've kind of been doing like personal research on similarities between African American culture and Korean culture, because there are a lot of things that are similar between the two. And so he had a couple of guests on his show, on one of his podcasts. It was like an African guy and then another guy who was half black and half Korean. And it was like the title was called like Intersection Between Asian and Black Cultures or something like that. And I recommend watching it because it's interesting, because it hit the target in terms of what I'm personally looking into myself, because it's very fascinating how similar both cultures are. So anyway, like after that, I just continued to watch. Like I think he does it every week, like once a week he'll drop a new podcast. And he's had, you know, other guests on there. Like he's had the guys from the P6 show on there before. And he's had, you know, well, similar, like, I guess, like other Koreans on the show, means Korean American, basically. So they have their perspectives that they give based off of that. And a lot of them are like hip hop oriented. So like his friend Rick is also an MC. And so they'll go back and forth, you know, about stuff like that. But I wanted to share this also because I found this to be interesting, and they mentioned the P6 show also. So on one episode, Johnny, he goes by Johnny. He had Eric Nam on there, and Eric Nam was a singer, but now he does more like interviews and shows and stuff like that. So he had Eric Nam on one episode, and they were talking about, you know, Korean culture, you know, stuff like that. And they brought a very interesting point up where when shows use English, and they were using the P6 show as an example, that when they speak English, they're able to actually express themselves more honestly than they do when they speak Korean. So I kind of thought that was interesting how they use English to kind of really be transparent about their opinions about things, because I guess they believe or feel that they can't do that in Korean, in their native language. So that was a very interesting point. So I was kind of like, that's something else I need to look into also. But anyway, move to the next one. The last one is Dark Asia with Megan. And I'm sure a lot of you know, a lot of people like to watch true crime. I'm guilty of that as well. I'm going to open this door because I am starting to sweat. So Dark Asia with Megan is a true crime show that she does where she talks about various crimes that happen across Asia. So she doesn't just do Korea. She is Korean, but she'll do Korea, she'll do Japan, she'll do Thailand, she'll do Indonesia, Cambodia, China, like just all across Asia. These very like horrific, true crime stories. And also she's branched off, and so she'll do like folklore, like horror folklore, or like unsolved mysteries and stuff like that too. That one I came across maybe a couple of weeks ago. That one I just recently discovered. So I'll watch her every now and then, and she has a very soothing speaking voice, and also she speaks really good English too, because her description on her channel, she was a journalist, so she has the journalist voice when she's talking about the crime. So I would definitely recommend that. So those are my top 5 that I'm currently watching, and I'll name them off again. So number 1 is Min Che, 2 is Average Korean Man, 3 is the P6 Show, 4 is the Dumbfounded / Fun with Dumb podcasts, and 5 is Dark Asia with Megan. So as a bonus, I'm going to talk about 3 honorable mentions that I tune into every now and then. So the first one is called BYOB, Bring Your Own Beverage. And this is a talk show. They recently started their 2nd season, so it's like a different setup and everything. So the first season, it looked like it was in a fancy room, and they wear suits, and they have snacks, fancy snacks as they talk to their guests, and the guests would dress up like I've noticed when they would have K-pop members on their show, and the K-pop members are always full tuxes. This would look like to me, with the big bows and everything. But the 2nd season, they just started the 2nd season, and I think they're on the 3rd or 4th episode now. They're on a rooftop in Seoul. I believe it's Seoul. And they can see the Seoul Tower in the distance, and they have like a meal on the roof. It's a really nice, neat setup. And it's like a talk show kind of thing where they ask guest questions. Now, they mainly have Korean guests on there. So I haven't seen, well, with the exception of maybe one guy, but I don't know if he was half or what. Oh, and there's a white guy on there on the 1st season. But they were all fluent in the language, so they could go back and forth, between English and Korean. But basically, it's a talk show where they ask the guests questions about their careers and stuff like that while they eat. I love Brian. He's hilarious. He likes to dance like I do. And so he'll bust out dance no problem. It's crazy. Talk to Me in Korean. And this one is an educational channel that teaches you the language. It was one of the first ones that I had come across when I was seeking sources to learn the language. So I would definitely highly recommend that channel. And in my last video where I went over, the channel where I went over the books that I used to study, I pulled out 3 of their books that I have. So I definitely recommend Talk to Me in Korean. And the last honorable mention is Korean Soul. And Korean Soul is a group of guys, 4 guys, and they sing gospel music, full on black gospel music. It's fascinating. It's amazing, and they're really good. They don't post as often, so what they'll do lately is that they won't post for several months, and then in a month's time, they'll just post back to back to back to back to back. So it's like a very short window when they actually post new content, and then it'll be months before they post again, which, you know, it works because every time they post, everybody like tunes in like immediately, because I do. So there are 4 members, and they've been doing it for a while. And how I came across them was on Facebook, actually, randomly. Like, there was a video of theirs, I think someone had shared, that they were singing. I don't remember the song. I think it was an R&B song, but I'm not sure. It was either an R&B song or a gospel song. And it caught my attention because, and this was like way before I had started studying Korean or anything else. I was into the music and entertainment, but not like as deeply as I am now. So I watched the video and I'm like, who are these guys? And then, you know, I didn't really see too much of them after that. And then a few years ago on my feed on YouTube, again, they pop up, but their name is different. Because at first they were called like Soul Chillin' or something like that. And then they changed it to Korean Soul. And so I went to their channel and they had all these videos of all these gospel songs that they had covered. And they were like really, really good. And also fascinating because they have a fascination for African American culture. And so they did a couple of videos where they made like soul food. So they made like fried chicken and mac and cheese. Another video, they tried to do like a traditional American Thanksgiving. So they did like turkey. Well, they couldn't find turkey because they said turkey isn't common in Korea. So they did chicken instead. And they did like, I think they did dressing and some other stuff, you know, too. But just the fact that they are that interested that they're willing to try like different foods and stuff like that. And they're also strongly connected and affiliated with BB Winans, who is a very big gospel artist here in America. Like he and his sister Cece, like they have been around for a hot minute, like since the 90s. Because I remember my mom listening to BB and Cece Winans when I was a kid. Okay, and I'm 39, so this was a while ago. So they've been around for a while, and the fact that they're connected with BB and Cece Winans, well, BB Winans, they're connected with BB Winans. That's a big deal because BB Winans is pretty well known in the gospel sphere, so to speak. I think that's it. So that's all I have for today. I thank you all for tuning in, and hopefully I can try to whittle this down so it's not like 20 minutes long. So until next time, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.